I fixed it. There should be sound. I'm gonna listen to myself and see if there's sound. Yay! This is what happens when you play around with multiple tracks in OBS and you don't make a new scene. So let's try this again. I'm Dark-Aries. I'm the technical director. I'm supposed to know what I'm doing. We're gonna see how much of that is actually true. And yeah, as you can see, camera, and we have Paint 3D here. But anyways, so this year is obviously a little bit different with regards to NASA because this is an online event, okay? Now, normally when it comes to on-site events, we bring all the equipment, everybody has a good time because there's good equipment, you know, everything's set up, good to go. We run on Artemis, which is, hey, you can hear that. The computer that I'm currently streaming from right now, which I don't really need to get over. But for this year, obviously that's not the case. So we're going to kind of start from the back, I guess, and then we'll go to the front. So what does it really take to put on a marathon? And I have my little Wacom tablet here that I can draw stuff. So we're going to start from the very back here, okay? Yay. So we have people that are going to stream to us, okay? And we also have hosts that need to stream to us. So we have a runner and we have a streamer. This is some grade A, grade 1 crayon technology here, okay? And, you know, and then we have our stuff. So we have NASA, you know, our overlays and all that stuff. Everything has to somehow get combined together. So why did I put S? This should be an H. Do I have an eraser? Do erasers exist in paint.net? They do. Oh boy, you can tell I'm totally prepped for this. Host. Huzzah. Okay, and that all has to get combined to Twitch. Look at this beautiful drawing, okay? So how do we kind of go about this, okay? So on our side, right, we actually have a, wish I had a picture of it, but I'm just gonna, oh, that's not the brush. This is the brush, okay? We have a nice basic computer, okay? Look at this box. I've learned from grade 2 how to draw a box, okay? And this is, I called it, I should just be typing, but it's called Sirena, also known as Siren, okay? Why is it called that? Because I like Greek mythology, and it's not as beastly as a computer as our main server that runs our on-site events, but it gets the job done, okay? So, you know, it's fairly decently spec'd out by Optiplex 9020 standards. It has an i7, has a GTX 1050. It is capable of doing online events. And it actually has done online events before this because it powered ICA-Aid on our channel, and it also powered ARPG-ME. So it's powered 2 online events, and it's powered so far the first weekend of NASA 2020. So it's been doing pretty good so far, you know? And actually, I can show you kind of how everything works. If I just move my no machine over here, well, that minimized everything else. Thank you, Windows. Thank you for minimizing everything else. Okay, so, you know, once you connect into no machine, it's literally just using a computer. So why is this great from a restream standpoint? Well, it doesn't matter who's streaming. There is a computer, you remote into it, and you're good to go. So if you don't have the best internet, you can still restream for us. I can literally restream from my Chromebook, which is about as strong as 2 potatoes. Maybe 1.5. I'm not even going to give it 2 potatoes. It is 1.5 potatoes strong in streaming. But because our restream server is pulling all the weight, you're good to go, right? And then it has OBS, and it is literally using it as your normal OBS. You know, we have all of our layouts here. We have ads. We have all these layouts that are set up. Beautiful, okay? So this makes it super amazing I'm going to say a lot, and I'm going to try to consciously stop saying it, but if I say it, I apologize already. This makes it super easy for us to have volunteers to restream. And this is the first time that we've actually really kind of had a restream team. It's also the first time we've really had volunteers in general for events, which is a glorious change. I can be less working and I can be more producing. So yeah, overall, this is a very easy change for people. You just remote in. There's pretty much no latency or any reasonable latency when it comes to controlling this machine. And yeah, you're good to go. And then on because, you know, this machine can do a lot as well, it can also actually power our layouts, okay? So, you know, we set up Node CG for the first time this time. And basically what this means is that all the layouts are dynamic websites. You know, I made this little panel here for our incentives and all that stuff, but you know, it showed on the intermission, if you remember, Splatoon and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Well, you know, if I hit play and I go back to here, oh, did I change it? It should update in a second. Yeah, it did. See, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Sonic CD. You know, if I play Sonic CD, this will update it. Now it's the Sonic CD is up next. So everything is super dynamic in this way. And that's it. Just this, even though it takes a lot of time to set up, it saves a lot of time. So it's worthwhile. And, you know, everything's kind of dynamic here. The nice part is this, because our server runs Linux, it has the ability to forward stuff. So I actually don't even need to control this dashboard on the Restream computer. I can control it from any device I want. So if I'm running dual monitors or anything like that, I am straight at home. I have one monitor being my layout control. I have the other monitor being OBS, and it makes running an online event a lot easier for everyone involved. Okay. And, you know, you got your timer here, you know, pause, play, all that jazz, resets, you know, update, all this stuff, Twitch control. This button is kind of like our macro. It goes straight to intermission, all that stuff. So, you know, that is pretty cool stuff. And all of it's possible because of the fact that we have a computer that people can remote into and kind of do things. That's my background. You only get a quarter of it until I go back to here. Huzzah. Okay. So in that sense, we've made the people who want to restream for us, we've made their lives as easy as possible. There's no like, I need to have a certain bit rate of internet to be able to stream. The stream doesn't cut off every shift. It's just smooth. And personally, this is, I think, the most optimal way to go about things. I know that there are people who, for example, just set up like cloud VMs with really good like gaming specs, because that's kind of the newest thing, to buy yourself a cloud machine and play games off of it. And that's certainly reasonable too, to set up kind of an OBS and everything else alongside of it. But I like kind of owning my equipment, and in the long run, it'll end up being cheaper because we don't have to game on this. We just have to stream off of it. So while its requirements are kind of up there, it has a graphics card that can do the stream encoding no problem. And, you know, it's reasonably spec'd that it can do everything else that's supposed to do, which is great. So that's kind of like how we deal with the layouts and the OBS side and everything like that. So that kind of covers the NASA part of that equation that I had. How do we do like the runner? Well, the runner is very different, okay? Because I'm just going to do a very quick breakdown of how a runner kind of works on an on-site. Oh, are you going to draw? Maybe the pencil. It's just not going to draw. I love Paint 3D, okay? Best Microsoft product ever. So, let's just do a quick table here, okay? We have online, we have on site. You know, I'm not even gonna write this. I have, good equipment, good microphone, good headphones, good internet, um, good everything. You know what? We're just gonna write good. Everything is good, okay? Online, all right? But they maybe, okay? I'm just gonna write this in caps. Everything is a maybe, okay? They might have good internet. They might have a good microphone. They might have a good computer. They might have a good capture solution. Everything is a maybe. And I personally would rather do 5 on-site events in a row than 1 online event, from the sole fact that anything that doesn't work is entirely on myself. Okay? I can control if my equipment works correctly. I can control how a microphone sounds, because everything I bring and everything in theory should be as good, if not better, than the person who arrives at our event. That's one of the things that I've always mentioned. For the on-site event, I want people to show up and have the best quality run that can absolutely happen for them. There should be a reason to show up to the marathon and showcase your run. And if you're trying to showcase your run, it should be in the best possible quality that we can provide. All right. When it comes to online, now there's all the variables. People's internet can cut out. They can have really crappy microphones. They can have really crappy like everything can be on a scale of really crappy to really good. And it will vary by the runner. And it's how do you deal with that? All right. So can I delete this? I can delete this. So there is a way, or at least there's something that we started to look into for this. And this is something called the SRT video stream protocol, Secure Reliable Transport. Don't ask me why they picked SRT. For a lot of us, SRT means subtitles. So, whatever, overloaded acronym. But the traditional way of streaming to Twitch or any other service is through RTMP, you know? And we all know that that has its own issues. You may have like privately streamed to a service and it will kind of drop, or if your internet just starts to bug out in any way, shape, or form, it's going to start just dropping frames and looking ugly. And we've seen this even with this event. We've had some issues with RTMP where the video kind of cuts out and it goes to a gray and there's just nothing there, and it's not fun. Because at least on an on-site event, if the video stops working, that's because the capture stopped working. And in our case, that generally doesn't happen. But we can't control when video frames drop and everything like that. We can only try to help it. So we've looked into this, the SRT protocol. There's this video here. I'll try to zoom in on it. There we go. Okay. Let's take a quick look at this here. Well, come on. So this is the live source, okay? I also just realized, I don't know if it's capturing my cursor, okay. So this is the live source. This is what kind of normal streaming is. If there is packet loss of any sort, we kind of get this garbage visual soup, I call it. And then with RTMP, it doesn't generally even do that. It just goes straight to gray screen because there's nothing. With SRT, you can see that there is a tiny bit of latency, but everything is actually there. And it has the same internet issues. Now, this is kind of a new technology, but it's also an open source technology, because if we look at RTMP was like made by Macromedia, not even Adobe, Macromedia, okay? That's why it uses Flash Player, and it's very out of date. And SRT is new. It came out in 2017. It's open source. And actually, more and more people in the commercial AV industry have started to use it. I've read that like ESPN actually uses it and everything like that. So that's one of the reasons why I looked into using this for this event because we all know that the biggest technical hurdle that could potentially happen is your runner can physically not stream their run. And we've seen this at other events where things were delayed because they can't get a stable feed going from the runner. And I wanted to avoid that. So we set up our own SRT server. Okay. And it takes in everything in as an SRT. And then because we know the input is absolutely 100% rock solid, in theory, the output is RTMP. So, it's very easy. You don't need any special software or anything like that. You can open up the feed if you're a commentator or a host in VLC or MPV or whatnot, and you get that quote unquote low latency version before it hits Twitch and everything like that. And that's how we also feed the runner's streams into OBS ourselves. There is a VLC source, and you're good to go. Now, because it's open source, there's obviously tools and everything like that that you can use to set up a server, and that's what we've done. I lost my train of thought for a second. That's what we've done. And then we have software that will take that input and then spit it out to RTMP. Like Rod's saying, it's called SRT Live Server. Shoutouts to Rod, actually, because he did help with setting up this whole server and the whole kind of transmuxing over to RTMP and everything. So me and Rod are basically kind of experts in SRT at this point. But anyways, so in theory, that's what people would use. SRT only works in the newest version of OBS, OBS 25. It does not work in older versions. It does not work in XSplit. It does not work in Streamlabs OBS. It works in vMix. Nobody uses vMix. The problem is what constitutes working and what actually is working are two very different things. So in regular optimal conditions, SRT, quote unquote, works. It doesn't bug out. It doesn't do anything. When something happens, the latency is too high or anything like that. In this case, it starts to bug out hard. And you might have seen that during some of the runs. Most notably, at least I can think of, is at the start of the randomizer multiverse. Raikou literally streamed via SRT, and I had his feed pulled up on my computer for like 2 hours. There was no drops in frames or anything else. Okay. When it came time that we transitioned to live and his feed was pulled into the OBS and everything, it died like almost immediately. And that's the quote unquote working in OBS. There is a fix already put into OBS, but they don't have a new release out yet. So it's by next event, 100% ideally, SRT will be 100% viable. And beyond that, I mean, you're probably wondering, well, why do you want it to be viable? SRT is codec agnostic. What does that mean? It means that you could stream not in H.264, but you could stream in H.265. So imagine you have really crappy internet, and but you have a very good computer. You got that Titan X or 2080 or anything like that. You got that NVENC encoding, and it can do H.265 in 1080p. Well, SRT can actually handle that. And we could pull that in, and instead of streaming like 720p, maybe 3000 kilobits a second, you could stream at like 1500 in HD, and your internet would actually be able to handle it for on-site events. This is also super awesome because you can have multiple audio tracks. So if we were doing an on-site NASA event, for example, we could have a feed with all of our mixed audio going to one, like it would go to a server. Actually, let me just draw this out. I have the Wacom tablet and I have Paint. Okay. Let's make sure I'm on the brush. The brush. Okay. So, if we're streaming on site, this is like, God damn it. Can you draw, please? Thank you. Thank you. We're going to use the mouse, okay? So, this is us, okay? This is NASA. We can stream to a server, okay? Server. And then, Twitch can get our stream. Maybe like some language restream can get a game only sound. Or, maybe we have, I don't know, only a commentary feed, right? Like, you basically have that ability to do that now, while with regular RTMP, you don't. And that is honestly super fascinating to me as somebody who deals with production as their job, right? It would be super awesome if language restreams could have a clean feed of on-site events. It would be super awesome if you had the ability to just kind of mute the commentary during that, because you just want to only listen to the game, right? That could be a potential possibility. That would be awesome. We're not there yet, but preparing for that would be awesome. And honestly, SRT is going to be the future. I'm going to call it now, because I was able to stream with my phone. This is my phone. Well, yes, this is my phone. Over the internet using SRT and like using my cell phone data. Cell phone data is notoriously terrible, even if it's quote unquote fast. But I was able to send an HD feed through the camera of my phone with audio, and everybody was able to kind of watch it fine during our testing. So just think about that. That would be awesome. You can just cell phone internet. Like you're at a place, let's say we're at NASA 2021, and we have somebody like outside the hotel at a place, and they're just giving us like an update, like, hey, like we're at so-and-so around the area, and there's a bunch of us, and we're doing some fun stuff here. We could have roller coaster updates from the actual theme park. Think about that for a second, okay? We could have roller coaster updates without it crapping out. So while SRT might not have worked perfectly during this event, preparing for it, I think, is the best way to go around things. Because when SRT works, it works phenomenal, okay? When it doesn't work, well, that's with everything, it doesn't work, right? But overall, even when SRT doesn't work, it at least gives you more than a gray screen, okay? It's just more like Windows bugged out and you're moving kind of everything infinitely and creating the infinite void, okay? So there's at least something visual on screen. So that kind of, and beyond that, we still have the backup of using RTMP or Twitch or anything like that. So it's not that, if SRT doesn't work, that, well, sucks for us. The stream's gonna be crap. No, we still have backups. I like having backups in place. But that's kind of the SRT side. And I even developed guides and stuff like that for the runners to do everything. Because if we're asking them to download OBS, I kind of set up a scene collection, everything like that. So that's kind of on that side. But again, we go back to the unknowns, okay? I have a good headset here, or at least something I would like to constitute it as a good headset. This is a Shure headset. It's basically just one of Shure's lavs attached to a boom arm, and then it goes into my mixer and all that stuff. Most of the time, people are gonna have like gaming headsets, right? And when they wear a gaming headset, okay, the first thing that they do is, they'll like put it right in front of their mouth, and then like it sounds awful, okay? So, if I kind of set it up right here, I have a lot of processing on this right now, but like this is probably not as good, okay? In comparison to kind of proper microphone placement. And that's actually one of the things that I tried to educate the restreamer on, okay? I might have broken my placement here a bit, but the proper placement of this microphone boom arm, okay, if you're using a headset, is the corner of the mouth, okay? Sorry, I probably could have just had it plugged in, but corner of the mouth, that is where everybody, if you look at theater, if you look at conferences, if you look at any professional AV, if you look at where people are popping those headset microphones, it's in the corner of the mouth. That is the most optimal place to put it. You don't get any plosives, you don't get any breathing sounds. And honestly, having restreamers do that for when they're setting up their runners was the most beneficial thing that they could do to improve runner audio. Because, you know, if I put this microphone right in kind of in front of my face again, okay. There we go. It's right in front of my face. And you know, if I start going, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, you're going to be feeling every single one of those b sounds, the plosives, okay? Now, if I kind of have this a little bit off, now I'm not talking into it fully. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. There is significantly less p sounds going on, okay? But, you know, what if we have people with, you know, the Blue Yeti or whatnot? You know, how do we handle that? They have a good microphone, right? Yes, it will probably sound significantly better than the cheap headsets that most people use. And to simulate this, you know, I have this microphone, which let me add it to the scene right now. Audio tracks. How do they work? I don't know. So, anyways, this is simulating a microphone, right? You can probably hear me at this point. So, if I have this microphone right in front, okay? Gonna put the gain up here and talk a little bit louder. This microphone is now in front of me, okay? You know what's also in front of me? My keyboard. Like, nobody wants to hear that, okay? Absolutely nobody wants to hear the keyboard. But for some reason, we put the keyboard in front of the microphone. This is a directional microphone, okay? Just gonna switch back to my headset here for a second. This is a directional microphone, okay? That means this is a cardio pattern. It picks up everything. I'm just gonna kind of aim it here. Everything in front, okay? In front. Doesn't pick up to the sides, doesn't pick up behind. It mainly picks up to the front. So telling people to get their keyboard away from the front of their microphone, maybe putting it off to the side here. Now I'm just gonna switch microphones here again. So now I'm back to this microphone here, and I'm just gonna start. Oh look, that's significantly quieter. Little fixes like this. Little fixes like this are honestly the biggest thing that people can do to improve their audio. And I'm really happy that it's something that I've brought up to our Restream team and something that they've been attempting to do with the runners. Because it's one of the biggest audio improvements that you can do. And I don't know if anybody else is doing this, but they probably should. Because I mean, if I'm just going to show one more thing about this mic, okay? So again, this is a directional mic, okay? It picks up everything going into the front of it. Now I'm kind of talking to the side, and you can see that I'm already significantly quieter. Now I'm talking to the back of the mic, and it probably sounds even worse and is even quieter. Now I'm kind of back to the side, and now I'm kind of to the front. Holy crap, what a difference. People don't know about this, and I don't blame them because they're not audio engineers, right? But if we can do basic stuff like this, then even our online event can be a little bit more quality, right? So the biggest thing as well is if you take a look at like the Joe Rogan podcast and everything, right? I'm currently talking right into this microphone. It has a little bit of a filter, but if I go Peter Piper picked a peck of peppers, right? The p-b sounds, they still kind of make things louder. P-b. I can see it on my audio meter that things are louder. But now, I'm just going to kind of tilt it a little bit here. Now if I go p-b, it just sound, I'm not shouting into the microphone with those sounds. A little bit of angle, a little bit of proper mic placement, and you can go p-b all you want, and it's not going to kind of like give that harsh bass sound. We're kind of done with that mic for now. It's just that's one of the big things, right, that we've been kind of doing, quote unquote, to help improve the streams the best that we can for the runners. And audio balance. Audio balance is another thing as well. So if you have Franker Phase Z, you'll notice that there is a compressor there. We try to avoid that. If you have to hit that button, we're doing our audio wrong, okay? So, also, I'm just seeing a little bit of things in the chat here for a second. Is an arm or a tripod stand better for mic placement? Well, it definitely, you don't have to hold on to it. If you look at all radio booths and everything like that, they do have boom arms, which lets them kind of move it into place, kind of move it closer, back and forth, depending on what's going. So, yeah, and plus, the big thing about it is when you have a boom arm with a shock mount, okay, when you hit the desk, right, that you're on, there will be vibrations, and then the stand kind of picks that up, and then the microphone picks it up, and you'll have those sounds. You get a boom arm with a shock mount on it, you're not going to get kind of those thud sounds anymore in your microphone. But obviously, I'm not going to tell every single one of my runners, oh, you need to invest in this and this microphone, and you need a boom arm with a shock mount because we need the best audio possible. That's just literally never going to happen unless we ship them the equipment ourselves, okay? As a kind of like somewhat tangential thought, the NFL draft was done all via remote this year, okay, because of the whole COVID situation. They literally bought a mountain of iPhones. Then they prepped up all the iPhones. I think they bought maybe like one of those video mics that plug into the headphone jack of an iPhone or whatever, right? And they shipped those out to every single person. So that way they can have some guarantee of video quality when they did that NFL draft. That's not going to happen anytime soon, okay? But we can at least try to attempt to fix the quality that the runners give us to be the best possible. Like there was a run where the Streets of Rage trilogy, the runner had a fan going. All right, very big fan. And obviously the microphone picked that up. So how did we fix that problem? Well, we did proper microphone placement so that way them talking is the loudest thing, and then the fan would obviously be quieter in any sense of form. We walked them through adding a noise gate, okay? And we also walked them through adding some noise suppression filters and everything like that. I'm just gonna actually pull up the runner guide here that I made, okay? As an idea. This is, I don't even know how many pages, but you can see that this is like the guide. I wrote it, you know. There's a table of contents. You can download OBS. Here's some information about SRT. I walk you through taking my runner scenes and, you know, importing it, setting up this portion of OBS, you know, the transform properties. You can copy a transform I've created and paste it onto your stuff. I kind of go through maybe some, well, don't want to do that, some basic guidelines of like bitrate and resolution. Obviously, the less going on screen, you can get away with a higher resolution and lower bitrate. You have an action-paced game, maybe do a lower resolution to compensate for you can't do the higher bitrate. You know, things like that. I walk through everybody on how to do all this stuff audio. You know, I even link a video that goes over kind of setting up um, compressors and OBS, and like this guy walks you through all that, and I link that video for basic audio filtering, right? I have images like this is how you should put a headset mic. See, corner of the mouth right there, not in front of the mouth, corner of the mouth, right? If you have a table mic, look at Joe Rogan doing exactly what I was talking about. That is angled upwards. He is not talking directly into that microphone capsule. He is talking kind of past it a little bit, all right? I have these examples in here. I even go through how to pump that filtered audio into Discord if you ever wanted to, right? So there's a lot of thought of little things that we can do to improve the runner side, to have at least the best that we can do. I mean, the runners show up half an hour early. Sometimes they get set up earlier as well if they're available. And this lets us go through that whole process of trying to take what we're given and get the best possible quality that we can out of it. And like I keep saying, the biggest thing is really just that microphone placement. Obviously, a little bit of filtering and everything like that if we have time, but that's kind of like that portion, okay? Um, I don't really know if there's anything else to kind of go over from the differences of like an online setup and the on-site setup. Uh, you know, shout outs to Zotan and Ben for helping us set up this side of things because I've never done it before and they have, and they were really helpful in getting all this working. Especially kind of like the donation ticker and total that shows up on the layouts. I guess if you guys have any questions about the event or in general about NASA 2020 on the technical side, I can definitely answer those currently because beyond kind of this little triage of little things that we're trying to do to make runs better and to have as little downtime as possible, there's not much to go over. I mean, this is a microphone that, you know, I was going to talk about during the live event because it's a microphone I invested in, you know, but we can save that for marbles, marbles, marbles. All right. I will get you your marbles. Hold on. Oh, oh. Come on, marbles. Yeah, marbles. So, marbles is a new thing. Oh, I gotta sign in. Gross. Marbles is a thing that we were trying out specifically this year as a way to kind of deal with I literally can't sign in right now. God damn it. Hold on. I'm just going to get rid of this Wacom tablet because it's destroying my ability to type. I'm going to talk about this for a second. Okay, so marbles, let me just pull this up here. I'm going to show this. So marbles is something that we tried to do during intermissions because we like marbles. I mean, personally, me and those crazy guys watch a lot of marbles. There we go. Huzzah. Okay. Right, so we have a scene of marbles. Marbles, the game. Okay, we can literally do this right now. It's a free Steam game. You know, you set up the race, random viewer, go. Everyone in the NASA marathon chat actually currently can now do a play, right? And you'll be joining in on marbles. So I'm actually going to kind of go through something here. I'm going to open up a second OBS to do this. So the idea is that this would be kind of, well, infinity. This would be our way to kind of fill the intermission time because everyone likes marbles. It's really fun. It's good stuff. Just setting up something here. Window capture? Sure. Marbles? Heck yeah. Okay. And settings, output. Sure. Well, that's not window capturing properly. I just kind of want to send it into the stream OBS to kind of give you guys an idea of how this works, quote unquote. There we go. Okay. So with my second OBS here, you know, I can start streaming marbles, and marbles should appear in this no machine. Always play. Yep. Okay. Hey, look, it appeared. And we can just do a full screen projector. Cool. And then, you know, I got marbles going. Oh, actually, hold on. I full screen projected the wrong thing. Hey, there we go. Okay. You know, this is supposed to be a fun intermission thing. You know, you can change stuff around. Marbles is fun. Marbles is great. You know, the layout is a little bit unintuitive, and this map is also super dark for zero reason. But you know, with some nice OBS overlay trickery, we can create a cool intermission scene. And everyone loves marbles. Marbles is fantastic. Ideally, what would be happening is that there is a software called Parsec, which allows you to kind of remotely game, and we would have like a second dedicated computer for controlling it. No machine kind of works as well, since it is fairly low latency. But yeah, marbles, dude. Marbles. I'm going to just answer some questions in chat as I see them. Do you have a document like the NASA's runner guide where in-depth advice about setting up the stream? Absolutely. I set up a whole restream guide that goes over how to access the Restream machine, how to forward the dashboard to your computer, how to add in sources, replace sources, set up the runner, kind of basic microphone tips and everything like that. Like, I think all the restreamers can kind of, at least to a 1% degree, like, if I ask them, did you learn something? They'll be like, yeah, I guess I learned something. So, that there's a little bit of a stream education going on. And there is documentation for the restreamers to kind of fall back towards, because I don't like people being in the dark. Basically, okay, you're gonna restream a NASA event, just figure it out, do it. Oh, bye Quo. Anyways, yeah, so if you think like the regular kind of runner guide is a little bit in depth, the restreamer guide that I have that still actually gets updates every day, basically, depending on what's going on, the more new things that I figure out that maybe people should know about. That's super in depth as a guide. So if you are a restreamer, you get the whole NASA 101 education on how to restream and kind of all the tips that I talked about, and then some. Basically, whenever I figure out something or somebody else figures out something that would be useful, it gets written down into the guide, right? Marbles. This is most fun I have for restreaming, because marbles just works. Marbles is life. Yeah, does anybody have any more questions as we kind of just do a couple of these marble runs? Um, no, you can't really find the guide for restreaming because it is like a restreamer thing. I don't think there's any uh doxing information in the restreamer guide, but it's still one of those things that, like, it severely has to be rewritten from a generic standpoint if I were to share it with more than just the current restreamers. But after the event, that is certainly something that I can look into, kind of making sure that it's kind of up to snuff for kind of general public release. And that way, if anybody wants to kind of read what education a restreamer got, they can. The marbles isn't actually like a pure 16:9, so, there. I've always wondered why they call it oven when you in the cold food. You know what? I don't even know. Okay, it's a science term. Not my forte. Yeah. I see an Asper mentioned. There's an Yella's Marbles run is like epic. I love watching it. There's going to be a new quote unquote season of it soon. So yeah, our actual runner guide is available in the Discord. The restreamer guide is something that, will maybe be shared at a future date. I guess that's everyone. I'll just start. But yeah, if nobody has really any more questions, I'll probably just do like 2 more of these marble runs and we'll call it a day. I'm not very good at commentating. I don't know what to say. I can put marbles on screen, and that's about the extent of my abilities. Oh, look at that. My marble is in the lead. What is my favorite sandwich? That's actually a really good question. Um, because how do you define a favorite sandwich? Like, that's kind of asking like, what's your favorite movie? Well, what do you mean, right? There's comedies, there's actions, all that stuff. Oh, Gander's in the lead, but not gonna lie, some good amount of protein in my sandwich, like some bacon or beef or something like that. That I don't eat like the normal deli crap from the grocery stores. I go to those Polish delis, them delicatessens, get that good stuff. I've also actually, um, wow, this is stupid. It's not actually going to the person in front, even though I know there's a person in front. Um, I've even learned to smoke my own meats. I've done that. Might make a sandwich out of my own homemade smoked ham after this is over. But yeah, it needs to have some of that. Good cheese is good. Cheese is good. Personally, depends on my mood. Whether I'm like a mayo or butter type person. Little extra dressings, like mustards or sub sauces or stuff like that. Generally, don't have it. I like to taste. You know that scene from *Inglourious Bastards* where Quentin Tarantino's, I like to taste what I drink, get that good shit, the gourmet stuff. That's how I feel about my delis. It needs to taste good without any of that extra stuff. Oh, this is like a hopper. You can Oh, I got it. I got it. Oh, did I win? Oh, hell yeah. Look at that. But yeah, that for as far as like my sandwiches go, it good protein. Okay, here's actually a very important part about my sandwiches. They need to have a good bread. None of this Wonder Bread stuff, all right? The Wonder Bread with like the kind of, you literally roll it up into a ball, make an eraser out of it. That stuff's garbage. All right? Stuff's garbage. You need good, solid rye bread. Nobody can tell me otherwise. Rye bread. Rye bread is the best bread for a sandwich. Okay? It's a fact. You go to any sandwich place, right? You go to like Schwartz's in Montreal, you go to like Katz's, I think in New York or whatever. All these places that have like amazing sandwiches, okay? They don't serve you Wonder Bread. They serve you rye, because rye is the best bread. I will fight people. Okay, hold on. A baguette is a completely different thing, okay? But I would still rather have a rye bread compared to a baguette, but a baguette's pretty good. The important part is, as long as we can all agree that Wonder Bread is the worst bread possible to have a sandwich made out of. And then, we can all get along. Grilled cheese is, grilled cheese is a good topic, because I just keep remembering that thing where people somebody got mad about how people were sharing melts on Reddit instead of grilled cheeses. But a good grilled cheese is amazing. You need the cast iron pan to get the good toast on the bread. You need real cheese, you know. Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is actually top notch for grilled cheeses because it lets you get that perfect kind of crumb crunch. So yeah, like, you can do like really whatever cheese you want, but the important part is it has to be done in a skillet. That's non-negotiable. Although probably you could get away with doing it in like those toaster campfire things over the fire. That would probably end up being a really good grilled cheese because you get that smokiness in there. You know, if you decided to throw more than cheese in your sandwich, that little bit extra in there. Wait another moment. I'm really glad that this tech panel has just devolved into my food opinions and marbles. I couldn't have asked for a better panel. I'm not gonna lie. This is the best way to hype up tomorrow. Just playing marbles and talking about food. All right, we'll say that's everyone. We're just gonna hit start. I didn't even watch the PS5 thing because I was quote unquote preparing for this, so I have no thoughts personally. Didn't we already have this map? Oh. No, there was somebody who went. This is. Come on, marbles. Give me the person in first. How. How. I just don't know why it's not letting me view that marble in first. Doesn't make any sense. Oh, the front ball is the world record ball. Yeah, see, like I said, my knowledge goes towards just putting stuff on screen, not actually being knowledgeable in it. I frankly don't know what I'm doing half the time. Oh, speaking of Quo, since we're looking at Quo's marble, shout out to Quo for making like a runner bot for us for this weekend, where the chat will literally be like, hey, these are the runners, you should follow their Twitch. Because that was a feedback that we got after the first weekend, and we do actually listen to all feedback. So that's a thing you guys can kind of look forward to tomorrow. It's even on like a command and everything. It's beautiful. Know that when you give feedback to us at NASA Marathon, we actually listen to it, we go over it, and we're like, well, how can we do that? You know? We'll do one more. We'll do one more before we kind of call this quits. So, yeah, dude, if somebody can find like a place with like smoked meat sandwiches at for NASA 21, let me know. Like for the last GDQ I was at, okay, here's my thought process whenever I go to a speedrun event, okay? And it's not like I go to them often, because unfortunately, no work and money and everything else. But whenever I go anywhere, and those crazy guys can confirm this, the first thing I do is find the Polish deli, okay? I find the Polish deli so I can buy the good stuff. I can buy some good bread. And when we were at GDQ, the Polish deli also had sandwiches that they would make on site for you to buy. And it was delicious, okay? It was top notch. That was a good day to eat food. Maybe we should have like a cooking show next NASA. During intermissions, we'd have like cooking with NASA. Which actually, hold on. This is somewhat tangentially related to a tech panel, all right? So with the guides that I've written down, right? There's an one of the things that I'm always kind of conscious of, even though I'm not always the best at it, is something basically that I call programmer's logic. And that's when you give somebody instructions, you have to assume that they will literally follow the instructions down to the letter, okay? So when I tell somebody like, hey, plug in this microphone into my mixer, right? They'll be like, and they'll just be like smashing it. And it's like, well, how do I plug it in? Plug the cable into the microphone, plug the cable from the microphone into the mixer. That's the proper directions, right? Like you often see this. There's actually a good YouTube video, and I forget what the title is, but it's a dad, and he's trying to get his kids to explain how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So the kids are just like, well, just grab the jam and put it on the bread. So he literally takes the jar, right? And then he just puts it on the bread. And they're like, no, you have to take it out of the jar. So it's like, okay, you know, and then it's like, okay, put the knife in, but they never told him to like take the lid off. And that's something that you have to be super conscious about when you create instructions or how you expect for people to do things. Because there's a lot of there's a lot of different ways that you can explain how to do something. There's only one correct way to explain something that will have the exact same results every single time. And I got pretty used to doing that at my old job, working tech support at the call center. You know, I figure out all the ways to word things, because as soon as you think you have like your script down pat, somebody comes up with you and it's like, I can't plug into HDM1. You're like, God damn it. But yeah, that's just something that tangentially, that's something that I had to be aware for this event too, when we're kind of like guiding people through doing all of this. You have to be exact and with your wording, otherwise you will not get the expected results. Anyways, we can start this now. Two worlds, if your house is on fire, that's unfortunately something I cannot fix. But I wish you the best of luck. Oh, we got people like stuck. Oh. Some of these marble maps are super cool, and other ones just suck. This is probably one of the cooler ones. What is the most notable tech issue that you've encountered at an on-site NASA? That's actually a really good question. Well, for NASA as a whole, it's probably when the breakers tripped. That was pretty bad. I now have to have power requirements, and when I'm planning our events, because I have to account for the fact that, you know, we're going to have all this stuff potentially only on one breaker or two, and then we have like 4 gaming laptops all plugged into the same circuit. Yeah, that can potentially cause problems. But there was also the year before that where oh look, Two Worlds won, where we tried to do the Dragster tournament, and the Atari 2600 that we had did not have a composite out. So by the time I actually got the RF working, or no, 2 years ago. Yeah, that was when we were in St. Catharines. 2, 3 years, yeah. Um, Getting that all set up where I had to like drive home and all that stuff. That was, that was something. The start of NASA one, holy moly, that was a thing that happens. That was fun. We got past that though. There's been a lot of NASA problems, but the fortunate thing about it is that they get all fixed. And, we tried for them. Generally, the issues don't show up next year because we learn from our mistakes. What is a mysterious, still unsolved NASA tech issue, current or previous? I mean, SRT in a sense, mainly because OBS is working but quote unquote broken. So until the newest version of OBS comes out, SRT is kind of like a coin flip in a sense, where it might work, it might not work, but we, as a viewer, that shouldn't be a problem anymore. For kind of more on-site stuff, I mean, generally everything works. The thing is, with with the capture setup that I kind of designed, I can literally capture anything beyond like 1440p or like 2160p or like 120 hertz stuff. But otherwise, everything else is, you know, capable of being captured. Even crazy retro stuff. There was some new stuff that I wanted to kind of do, but we won't because we're online. So that'll be, next tech panel. But as an actual kind of mysterious thing that's going on, I mean, the biggest thing right now, I guess, is that currently my computer kind of doesn't like having all the capture cards in at once right now. But I think I know what the actual issue is. I'm just kind of slowly going through the process of making sure that I've ruled out the correct things. Yeah, like otherwise, I mean, to be fair, next NASA will actually have on-site hosts and all that stuff. That's kind of why I got um, this microphone. This is a regular Shure SM58 kind of handheld microphone. Basic microphone. You see it in concerts, on stage. It's an industry standard workhorse. Literally can work as a hammer. These things are indestructible, and they sound, relatively decent for what it is. As like a workhorse standard mic, these things are, you'll see these all the time. You can only go up from this, but this is like your standard concert microphone sound, everything like that. And so I got one of them. I'd like to get more. I have this headset mic that I'm using. I have kind of this ear set mic right here, which I used, or I had at last NASA, but didn't actually use because at work I actually learned that you are supposed to kind of bend this portion here to fit to the ear. So you can see that I've kind of bent it so it fits my ear all correctly. And these are, I think, 12 American on Amazon Prime. They're not overtly expensive. I've read that a lot of theaters and everything like that deal with like students and everything, they'll actually buy these and treat them as disposable. So that's something I was thinking of maybe doing if I had the funds for an on-site NASA. Every host just kind of gets their own personal belt pack and their own personal kind of ear set mic that we've formed to their ear. It would be labeled like, this is the Dark-Aries headset. This is like the Lurk headset, right? And, everyone would have one. I have two of these belt packs, right? And this is it connects right into there. And, you clip it on because that's a little clip right there, and then it goes into your mixer. So I have two of these. And Xbox Live message. Amazing. Oh, new Game Pass games. Beautiful. So, you know, how that will work when it comes to actual NASA is going to be a question in of itself. You know, we're adding in a lot more microphones to have the on-site hosts, and it would be nice if we could get like wireless stuff and everything like that. But yeah, otherwise, generally, most of NASA's issues are just down to like me being an idiot. And I'm okay with that. Those are solvable problems. Having like capture cards that can't properly capture stuff and or consoles that don't necessarily work for capture, that's not an easily solvable problem. But me being an idiot is a very solvable problem. Literally can be solved in 30 seconds at times. So, you know. I mean, Two Worlds, my soul dies every event, okay? It just happens. It's just a thing. But then, you know, everything works and everything's all hunky dory and we're back to fun times. A lot of that stems from the fact, however, that, you know, when a NASA on-site event happens, it's generally only the couple of us, the actual staff who does the tech, right? So with this event, we actually have a team of volunteers, and our volunteers are really awesome. You know, for restreams, for chat mods, for hosting and all that stuff. So if we can even just get like a fraction of how awesome the current set of volunteers is for this event to happen at the on-site event, that would be like super awesome. So, you know. Ah, mod privilege. Look at that. Do you have a box of souls stashed away? Unsure. There's too much shit in my room to know for sure what is actually stashed away and what is like gone. But yeah, I mean, if nobody has any other questions, I mean, that's pretty much all I have. Again, it's an online event. It's not super large amounts to go over. I mean, I showed off our new fancy layouts, our Restream PCO, you can remote into it, how the dashboard was available externally, how OBS is kind of just like non-latency. I showed how like a marbles thing works on stream. You know, you just start streaming and boom, it's on the intermission. I showed off our runner guide. I drew some really crappy diagrams. Showed off some mic technique. We'll do one more. We'll do one more and then we'll just call it. Oh, this looks like a fun map. wait a little bit more. I'm glad that this stream is everything that you could have dreamt of, Two Worlds. That makes me super happy. But hopefully, like, you guys learned at least, like, a little bit. I mean, you learned that Wonder Bread is terrible. I think that's a really good tech tip, personally. So, yeah, dude, microphone placement is, like, literally the biggest thing that anybody can do. I don't know if other events are doing that, but they should. Because we're going to be doing online events probably for a while as, like, speedrunning in general. So people gotta step up their game, you know? First. What is up, Julian? I hope I've been well. I think things have been well. I think the last time we talked was literally like almost a year ago. It's just like gonna be our thing now. NASA Tech Panel, boom. It's the get together. This is a cool map. That's all I gotta say. I mean, let's be real, Facebook's awful, so oh, no mod privilege here today. Who won? I don't even know. Yo, the Two Worlds actually won. All right. If nobody else has any actual questions, probably just call it. I'm gonna go make a sandwich, some non-Wonder Bread, and we'll see you tomorrow. You know, raise some more money for Save the Children. Starting off with, like, what are we starting off with? I should pull up the schedule before we go. Um. Da, 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 da. No. Hey, okay. So, Splatoon 2 by Quo. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe by Quo. Sonic CD by Kamikaze, not Quo. It broke the chain right there. Yeah, I mean, Weekend 2 should be pretty boss, looking at the schedule. Some good classics here. Good new stuff. Some puzzle stuff. Some retro stuff. Sailor Moon. Boom. Jam. If Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo doesn't win this bid war, I'm just gonna be upset. I'm gonna be super upset. I'm not gonna lie. I love Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. Can't play the regular version because I'm colorblind. But I love the game. The game's sick. Eminem Shell Shock, like how there is no better game than Eminem Shell Shocked, all right? That how can we really this is the peak video game here, all right? There is no game better than Eminem's Shell Shocked. That's what it is. Knack 2, go away. Go away. Eminem Shell Shocked. But then, Mom Hid My Game comes really close. Absolutely close. But, every event needs a fitness break. I think it's very important that everyone gets a fitness break. We have Just Dance 2020 with Duraludon, all songs blindfolded. And you can donate to have them play the hardest routines. That's just going to be your rager right there. All those top 20 songs, 100% going to get the VOD muted. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to love it. We're all going to be dancing. It's going to be great. And, Final Fantasy VII Remake, 10-hour estimate. Probably won't be 10-hour estimate. Heard like 7. But yeah, exciting stuff. And the more I talk about this sandwich, I'm just more hungry about a sandwich. So I'm gonna cut the stream. And Cuphead, nice. Gonna cut the stream. Gonna make a sandwich, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. See ya.